Morning everybody and Merry Christmas. Time for another festive-ish build it video. Quite a simple one, this one. The difficulty was finding something festive, even slightly festive, apart from things like a skier and a sledge, most of which I've already built. Now this is very simple, although I have made a few additions, changes if you will. The design is a very old one, going way back probably into the 20s, maybe even before that, 1920s, maybe around World War I era. It's called a comeback, and basically this device, when you roll it forward, should come back to where it started from, near enough. Very simple design, although I spotted a couple of improvements straight away and a couple of changes, well one really, that I've made because I'm using more modern parts. Now this version comes from the December 1962 Meccano magazine, and it was in an article titled Meccano Fun for Christmas, so that's our link for this one. Now parts wise, this is all you need. Of course you'll need the tools as well. Now you've got 4 2.5 inch by 1/2 inch double angle strips, 2 3-inch pulleys. Make sure they run true. These are about, oh, I don't know, 15 years old now, from the rejigged, slightly altered vintage set they did around 2007 for about 5 years I suppose. You can see that one's a bit faded. The trouble with these is, for some things, the holes in the bosses are a little bit large, so they can be a bit lanky, but for this should be fine. You've got 8 bolts, less the ones in the pulleys and the pulley there, the 1/2 inch pulley and the collar. 8 nuts, 1 1.5 inch axle, 1/2 inch no boss pulley, the collar as I said with the bolt in it, the 1/2 inch bossed pulley, and here we have 9 wheel discs. These are the 8-hole variety. Now I say 8, there's really 9, but that's the centre one's the pivot. Now my alterations are 2 of the more modern drive bands, because these are a bit thinner, so I need a bit more power I reckon, so I'm going to go for 2 of those, plus what few originals I have are a bit thin and cracked, and basically just due to the ravages of time. I don't want to do anything with them if I can help it, and if I do, I don't want to do anything too strenuous with them. I've added 8 extra washers, standard washers, and this is to bring the double angled strip away from the rim of the 3-inch pulley there. Otherwise it will fit generally, but it can force the pulley over slightly out of alignment, so bringing those up slightly with just one washer clears the rim. There is one other difficulty with this, is somewhere to run it on a smooth flat surface once it's built, should it work, because of course using the 2 more modern drive bands, which are about half again as thin really, I don't expect to have as much force out of those, hence why we're using 2, but hey, you know, we'll make it. If it don't work, we'll try and make it work. Right, we'll start with the 3.5 inch pulleys, remove some parts out the way whilst we mess. I've already put the extra bolt into the boss of the pulley on both of those, so that's done anyway. And basically all we've got to do is string together with the double angle strips the 2 pulleys like that. So let's get on with it. Shouldn't take too long, he says. It's been a while since we've had any real Meccano videos because I've been doing other things as usual. Been doing other things get in the way, can't do it all at once. Oh yes, I remember something else about these pulleys as well. Probably due to the thickness of the coating, you may have to screw in the bolt through the holes on the pulley, because it's a bit thick there, but it's gone in. Just had to screw it in rather than push it through. And another thing, oh we're okay, probably just. Now it is something, if you haven't noticed, I mean I'm alright because I've got plenty of tools, but I like these Allen drivers, these screwdriver type. They've been around now for about, I don't know, 5-7 years. Of course, at the moment, you can't get any Meccano on the high street. I can't find any. Maybe online you can, but I don't think they're producing anything at the moment. And haven't really, apart from a few juniors, since the back end of COVID. They are good, especially when you're undoing stuff, because you just flick them round and they come undone. But they ain't quite long enough. So after 2.5 inch, you really struggle. I mean, that's right at its limit. So we'll just grab another Allen driver. Well, I had to hunt for them then. I've got hundreds of them probably, and that's no joke because you get one in every set. And of course these are the 2 other variants. That's a nice tool as well, nice to grip there, but again a bit restricted on length, so we've gone for the old-fashioned bog standard. I'll probably cut this a bit short because it's quite repetitive, this build. Well, a lot of Meccano builds are repetitive, but of course it's quite symmetrical, one side is the same as the other. So I'll show you this one first. Spanner. I'm using an older spanner. It's quite a nice one actually. That was from a late 50s, early 60s number 4 set, or part thereof, which I have just took apart. Oh, sorry, say took apart. I've just took the parts out and put into stock what was left of the parts. I think that was part of a build I did some years ago, either the Austin Healey-ish, as I called it, or the drill stand, I think it was. Just line that up. Nice thing about, in some ways, modern parts, they're shiny. If you just need to tweak them a little bit, they tend to turn quite nicely. But because they're shiny, they can come undone and come undone quite quickly. So same again. Would be nicer to use the Allen driver, but this'll do. This'll do. Just a bit harder to get your fat fingers on it. Thing is, when I was a kid, I couldn't reach. I got thin fingers, and I couldn't reach certain places when I was building a model. I used to build a Scammell, built it quite often, my version of a Scammell lorry. And I remember trying to get bolts in the corner of the bonnet area underneath the engine, because it was a fixed bonnet, it wasn't open, and you struggled to reach. Now I can reach, if I think I could get my fingers in the holes. So same again. I like these sort of toys. You might call this quite a simplistic toy. See, that hole was alright, that went straight in, so yes, just the coating on them. Quite thick coatings on some of these modern parts. Certainly the fairground set, that can have a really thick and gloopy coating on. I say modern, I mean that's like 20 years old now, although they produced it for a long time. It was one of the best sets. But yeah, these simple things, it's nice to have a model where, as well as the build's a good build, it goes together well. How often does that happen, people? And then it actually does something, and of course with some things looks good as well. See, this is more of a, what would you describe it as, utilitarian thing? Although the design does say, and you can probably pause the video at the start and see the instructions if you're on a big screen, although I will put a link to the instructions in the Meccano magazine, which you can download for free. Look, I've resorted to the newer driver and found its limit straight away. Of course you can use the other end of the driver down there, but of course you don't get many turns before we have to take it off, so we'll just do that. Bit awkward I know, this angle. One day I'll come up with something else with better lighting, but none of my videos are monetised. They hardly ever likely to, and to do it legally is a right faff. Pay the taxes and all that, and I don't think there'd be that much gain. It'd be nice if it was, and then start investing in a few things like a better setup for doing the videos. Of course, these sort of videos, the camera's nearly always going to be in the way unless it's hanging over the top of you and out the way. So that's one side done. We do exactly the same with the other side, making sure that the boss is on the outside. And I suppose really I would have been better, neater, if I'd have put the bolts through from that side, but yeah, doesn't really matter. So there you are, folks, the main structure done. Don't do what I did, don't try and build it from memory, have a look at the instructions, it's much easier, and then you start to get things right, at least as far as the instructions go. Of course sometimes they can throw you right off course, but yeah, it would have been easier the way around. Fitting the last few washers underneath though, that was a lot less fiddly than I thought, because there ain't that much of a gap, and just a pinch you can hold it in place once you got it lined up. So that's that done. Now probably the hardest thing to do potentially is to thread through, back those right off, thread through the, well, rubber, whatever they're called, whatever they're made of, bands, these drive bands. So they're thinner, they're probably shorter actually than the originals. I'm going to try and get 2 through in one go, but I don't think we're going to be able to do. Oh, hang on, if I put one inside the other like that, because once you've got it through, it should be easy to grab hold of, because you can use a screwdriver. Maybe I can use, or try twisting it. This is probably the hardest thing to do. And I twist it round, no, try and hold it in place, but it's difficult. Let's try that. Yes, it almost went. So I'll tell you what, we'll try it one at a time. We'll feed one in, and then we'll try and feed the other one in. Oh, actually that went in quite nicely with just the one, because we've got a lot less room to play with now. Fiddly a little. Oh no, that's come through. Let's see if we can get another one in. Now, you may wish to try this with one. Drive bands don't come in many, if any, of the later sets, so it's going to be quite difficult to get through. I'm going to have to prod that, I think. I wouldn't normally say this, because if you're building with Meccano, use Meccano. But some things, rubber things are mainly, they're hard to get good quality ones that, even if they haven't been used, haven't degraded these days. Tyres and bands, so there's always elastic bands. Now, has that got enough grip to go through? It's going to be interesting to do the other side. Let's see if that'll pull through now. Well, the one is. I'll grab that there. Right. Oh, it's just about to come through. There we go. Of course, we've got to get it in the other side as well. Ah, pulled the one through too far. Well, this hasn't gone quite out. Oh, we're lucky there. Lucky. Lucky, lucky, lucky. So yeah, just persevere. I suppose you could put a drop of soap or washing up liquid on, but they do slide quite well. It's just that there ain't that much room to slide through. At the end of the day, it's only a 532 inch hole. That's 4.1mm in foreign language. Right, how's that looking now? Not quite. We'll hold on to that one and we'll push this one. Yes. Right, this time I'm going to stick our thumb through it, and that will even it up as well. Yep, there we are. Fairly even. Now we have to pull it through and secure it by pushing these through. It does risk actually cutting them though, especially with the two in. But having said that, the original would have been about twice as thick, the original rubber band. So I'm going to leave a little bit, that will aid tension. I'm going to screw these in a bit at a time. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to put an extra nut and bolt with washers through the end. That'll stop it coming through. So we have 2 more washers per end, so 4 washers in all, 2 bolts, and over the back here, the nuts. When I put these drawers together, which come from Aldi, you can see these drawers, they're all up to about 4.5 inch if your part's not too wide. But I've got many variants of different styles, types, ages, nuts and bolts. And it just so happens the ones I use most, which are the modern Allen type, the nuts for those are across the back here, so it's not very practical. Right, so simple. You might want to call this a clamp idea. We put that through there. Now it's only really just long enough, a standard bolt, and we might have to use a 3/8 inch bolt, which is 9.5mm. But the thing is, when you crush the bands, the 9.5mm one will be too long, and there we go, will be too long and look ugly, although it would do the job. So we'll try this, try not, as long as it pinches it and doesn't come out, that should do it. And now when we pull through, in fact it's holding really nice on those, but at least this way, just going to take the slack up, I'll undo those a bit, pull through. They are grabbing quite nicely anyway, but there is a risk of course of just cutting through the drive bands. But yeah, drive bands, alas, you should always use Meccano in my book, because you wouldn't be building with Meccano otherwise. And again, you know, some parts, a string or cord as Meccano called it, that's another issue, and I've run out of my supply of very close reproduction cord, which was made in Yorkshire. The business closed, the rope makers closed, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years ago now. In fact, I was up there the other week, in Hawes it was, and the building is still for sale. But it was very close to Meccano cord in thickness and consistency, amount of strands and all that, probably a bit thinner really. I found some stuff made in China at B&M, I think it was, and it's okay, but it ain't, it's a bit too soft, I suppose. I suppose you can always double it up. Now this is the difficult bit because I'm at full stretch already to get this through, so I'm going to leave you to it for a moment as I may be swearing shortly. Talking of cheap Chinese string, or any cheap string for that matter, what I've done is got a piece of string that was just lying around actually on the side there, and tied just 1 knot there. The reason why 1 knot, of course 2 would be more secure, 1 knot is smaller and I'm limited with what space I've got to go through the boss, so we're going to try it, and it did work. I put it in part way through, so we're going to get you in shot if I can. There you go, we'll pull it through. Now it's quite tight, so as soon as it comes through, that can happen. If I'd have done it the first time, that would have been okay, that would have worked. If I'd have carried it through, but I just pulled it slightly off camera and I thought, oh yes, that's going to work. What I also did, I trimmed the very end of the string that I'm not using, the loose end if you will, again because of space, but we'll try it again. It might have worked actually again if I'd have left a bit of string on the end, so we'll go like that, pull it tight, again just 1 knot, just 1 knot on there. We'll thread this through here, grab hold of it through the end, make sure we don't catch anything. We'll pull through, oh yes, nice and carefully. I'm going to take some of the tension off the band by pushing it so it'll be less to pull through. We are in. I'm going to get a tool to put in just so it doesn't fall out for now. Like that. That's just a ticket, that one is, and we'll get rid of the string. back in a mo. Whilst removing the string, one of the rubber bands has broken. Looking at it where it's broke, most of it's out of it. It's broken inside there, and I dare say it's been cut by the bolt, so that needs a bit of rethought actually. But of course you've got to have them fixed. You can't just have them poked through. You've got to have them fixed to the ends, because you've got to get a bit of a torsion going on for it to drive it. So I thought about replacing it, then I thought, nah, I'll just take it out. And I thought, hang on a minute, no. Three ends, if you will, are still attached, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Just leave it as it is. We do have to do something in a bit anyway, so we've just got to put another bolt in the end for extra security with the washers. Okay then, look, that's the situation we're at the moment. You can see the broken drive band there, so I think that should break. There we are. That'd take too much, so we're just going to go with one. Let's stick with the one, and that will be easier to thread through in theory. We'll try our best anyway to get a pinch of it. Access is one of your issues, I suppose, because you're blocked on all sides, I suppose. Near enough. Right, come on. Because you're under tension, it makes it more awkward. Oh, we're nearly there. Just need a little bit more. I'm just gonna grab a bit more. Come on, there we are, stay. Gotcha. I suppose there's a bit of tension there. It's a tad shorter, I reckon, than the original. I think it calls for a 6-inch one, 6-inch drive band, and that's the full length, not the joined length, if you like. If you cut the band and let it string out, that seems an odd way of doing it to me, but yeah, that's what they did. Anyway, not as thick though, of course. I was wondering whether something like just one angled, an angled bracket, just one, thread the Allen bolt, thread the drive band through and secure it to the angle bracket, as I've done here with this bolt here. That'd probably be less, well, certainly less strain on the drive band, less chance of it cutting. You just got to make sure it don't want to come out of there. Right, we're in. It's done. It's not too bad. We'll just tighten these up, but I ain't going to tighten them up going evenly. I ain't going to tighten them up because I'm just going to, oh, I haven't really got much choice. That's nearly full anyway. That one's full. Ah well, let's see. Right, so there we are. With a bit of messing around, we got there with just one in the end. And there's the broken one. You can see it's broken at the extreme end. When I get it there in the camera, it's broken at the extreme end, so it probably was cut. Now the weight consists of, well, anything really. Either something that's heavier than what we've got here and less of, or something similar, say like pulley wheels perhaps, although they are quite light for what they are. These ain't that heavy really, but there is 9 of these, 9. So what we're going to do first, we'll get the collar. Don't worry about the colour of the bolt, it's just a black one. It just happened to be in the collar, the Part 59 brass collar. Now you could use other things, of course, if you haven't got everything, although all these parts are readily available on eBay and what have you, second-hand prices. There are a few dealers still around, of course. So you could use, oh, I don't know, they'd be a bit thick, but no Boss 1-inch pulleys perhaps on there. If you use with the Boss pulleys, you wouldn't be able to put so many on, and you are restricted by the room inside the drum, if you want to call it that. A note in the instructions, it also says that you can shield the mechanism by putting, it says cardboard, which they did on occasions, or use a flexible plate. The thing is then though, if you used a flexible plate and bolted it in place, I mean you could probably only have to bolt it in one place, well, one each side, just wrap it round. Would the bolt heads protrude and then stop it rolling on a surface? Interesting. You couldn't do it from, well, how could you do it? Because you've got to get access to get the nut on the back. And if you do that first before putting one end on, you can't get the end on, and then you can't get access to put the band in. So this is a little bit against the Meccano grain perhaps. If you're going to do that, use the fairly recent, the last 5 years, quick snaps, the little push-in sort of like clips you can get. Wrap it round, as long as there's too much tension on the flexible plate, and use the quick snaps, and then they would fit more flush than a bolt or even indeed a nut. So that could work. But it's nice to see how it works. So basically, collar on the 1.5 inch axle, slide your 9 wheel discs on, then we put this pulley on, I've only got one of them, and we have to thread it through the middle of the drive band, and then put that, that needs undoing a bit, put that 1/2 inch boss pulley on it. Has that got 2 screws in it by any chance? Yes it has. So we'll take one out, because grub screws are in here somewhere. Look at them, they're like little ants, easy to lose, but we'll keep that one safe. We only need one, not doing anything spectacular. Should grip nicely. We're not after any massive force that it needs 2 on to grip. If you do have a build that needs a lot of grip on a screw, on a pulley or a gear, use a triangle sided axle, gives you more grip to the flat side. Right, so we're basically clamping the elastic band in the middle. I'll try and get it lined up there, that'll do. Clamp it tight. So it's a slotted grub screw, so I'm using a normal screwdriver now, Meccano one. This is my main kitchen tool. I use everything. If you want to open something, take a plastic wrapper off or anything, that's what I use. It gets more use than anything else. And there we are now. That is not gripping. As you can see there, it's not gripping. So we're going to have to look at that now. Right, I think we'll try twisting it and then try clamp it up again. I think you've got a shiny little used drive band and shiny parts. It's not helping, so just try and get that in place. I may use something with a bit more grip, such as a 1 inch pulley instead of the 1/2 inch. Let's try and twist that again. I'm going to try and twist that over a couple of times. It's very awkward. Oh, I think we got it though. Let's try that. Right, let's have a look before we tighten it up. It's come unravelled anyway. Push it right in. This is very hard to show you. I suppose I don't normally anyway do a, shall we say, dry build, a pre-build first to see if it works. We're finding everything out as we go. Right, that's in there now. That's there. That's there. Try not put too much any strain on it. I'll push down, sandwich them together, squeezing hard, tighten that up, see what happens now. Oh, not bad. I do notice something that's no good though. It's hanging far too low there and it's going to catch. And this is where the original drive band would have probably been better. But we'll see. Yes, it's too low. So we can either reduce the weight or thread another drive band through. We need that to come up a lot more. We need that to come up about 1/4 of an inch. And I don't think another drive band's going to do it. I'm going to try and increase the tension. This is probably where it all falls apart. And I'll have to start again with brand new drive bands again. But we'll try. I'm going to increase the tension. That's more like it. As far as I can there at the moment. Look how much I'm pulling that through now. Pulling that through quite a lot now. But that should be alright as long as it doesn't cut when I tighten these up. I won't go too mad. Just a bit beyond nipped up. Okay. We'll readjust the weight position. Now I'm just going to put this, shall we call it a stop bolt? I'm just going to undo that and drop it down. Ah, I've broke it. Right, we better start again with a new drive band or two. Right, here we are, lots of drive bands. That's an original, I think. That's a heavy duty one, I think. That one, that's too long, of course. These look original ones, but them too short. Not bad condition, I suppose. See, that one might go. That one might go. It's about, I think that's about 5 inch. You see these yellow ones and these light grey ones, they're all modern ones. They're not rubber. I don't know, maybe neoprene perhaps. Lots of them, and they are generally pretty good. They do tend to grip quite well for their intended purpose. So what we got there, another long one. Oh no, short ones. That's decent. Again, it's a bit short. Ah, is that a 6 inch? Ooh, looks a bit longer than 6. See, to me that's about 5 inch. Let's have a look. So that'd be 2.5. 5. That's about 7 inch, I reckon. Of course, I'm assuming it's proper Meccano. There's no way of knowing really. I may have some pre-packed ones. I found some packaging. Cord, what's that doing here? That's got to be hung up out the way, as it might be used again. Spring cord there, but not Meccano, that's Maymod I should say. Hello, what we got here? Where's that other long one gone? Is that it? Aha! Sorry for the bangs, folks. Someone's just gone outside. I think we'll try that one. At the risk of ruining an original completely. Although we should only need one. I'm surprised they're in such good condition. Again, assuming that they are original Meccano. As you can see, I could do with another tub. But we'll try it again. But yeah, coming away from the original design, I mean, we don't know if the original design works because we haven't gone that way yet, although we will be very shortly. Because these are thicker. These are much thicker. But we're gonna try. Right. Give me a pointy bit. You know, this video should have been what, 10 minutes long? I suppose it shows the issues. It is easy to push through though. They're a little stiffer. Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? The other one went straight in and straight out. This one, it's saying no. Right, it took a while. I twisted it round. I've got it in place. I'm going to tighten it up. Let's hope we don't cut this. I don't want to ruin too many originals. Should be okay. Perhaps my angle bracket idea was a good thing to try. And now I'm going to pull this through as well, this end, adding tension, reasonably even tension. I won't say it's spot on. Oh, that's got tension there. Well, that really has. I suppose if I want to be neat about it, I could just... Perhaps this is a bit over the top, but pull this end through as well. I'm not going to go any more than that. I think that's at its limit. Oh, that's much, much better. Should grip nicely compared to the other one, I think. Pinch it through. Yeah, that's about right. Screwdriver. There we are. Okay. Oh, you need 3 pair of hands sometimes. Back over a bit into the middle. Is that okay? I think it is. Right. That should do it, I think. Still hangs quite a bit, but it's clear of the other parts just, I think. Yes. Okay. Shall we go for the main test? We'll clear this cloth out the way and give it a go. Right. I don't know, I suppose you just go like that. Shall we try it? Yeah. That's going to fly. Hey, that's damn good, that is. Oh, bit too far. Do it again. Yeah, you could see the perhaps simple fascination, and I would almost say that band's got too much power in it, but if I slacken it off, it'll probably risk catching the other parts again. But look at that. Well, the original design, well, except for the washers that I've added, is the best way. Is the best way to do it. Oh, now that skipped over then. I suppose it just wound itself up and then went twink. I suppose it's better than it breaking. Yeah, if you go too far, there's enough power in the elastic band to turn the weight over like that, and that's what's happening, and it unwinds itself without doing its job. So I reckon that this would go about see there, I'll just demonstrate that actually. So now winding up like an elastic band on a model airplane, I'm now winding it up to the point where it can overcome the counterbalance weight. And there you go, see it unwind, you probably just saw that, it unwinds itself. So I reckon this has got with this drive band, this has got a usable distance of about 4 feet each way, something like that. So the nice thing is though, it's not breaking, and back it comes. There you go. Simple. Should have been much more simple. The comeback, Meccano Comeback from December 1962 Meccano magazine. We got there in the end. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.